22 members of the Newton City Council are urging the mayor, the school committee, and the Newton Teachers Association to come to an agreement for a new contract for teachers. They held a press conference to request teachers and students go back to school, while the NTA and the school committee continue discussing contract negotiations.
My name's Mark Laredo. I'm the president of the Newton City Council. With me is the vice president of the City Council to my immediate left, David Kalis. And as you can see, I have many of my City Council colleagues here today. There are others, including Councilors Gentile, Leary, Greenberg, Danberg, and several others who could not be here today because of other commitments, but who stand firm with us in coming together. Let me be really clear why we're here and why we felt it was so important that we speak out this afternoon. City Council has a role in city government that does not involve direct oversight of the Newton Public Schools. Under state law, that's done by the school committee, and that's the job of the school committee to conduct negotiations. Nor do we have any power over money. We don't allocate money to the school system. That's the mayor's job. And of course, we have absolutely no authority over teachers or staff. That's the role of the superintendent and the principals. But as city councilors, as leaders in this community, as folks who are acutely aware of our budgetary needs, including the budgetary needs of other important city services, police, fire, trash collection, providing for our very young, our seniors, and our most vulnerable, we are acutely aware of the financial constraints that the city has, and that we do not have the power to just unilaterally increase taxes and fund important initiatives, including salaries. So I put that in context. And over the last week or so, we have collectively watched and we have put together several letters that were signed by virtually every city councilor on the city council. Something I can assure you is a pretty hard task. But we did that because we felt it was important to speak as one voice, and that voice was we need to be reasonable, we need to be fiscally sound, we need to compromise, we need to negotiate, and we need to get this resolved. And we have watched with increasing concern, I'm going to say grave concern, over the last week as our community seems to be torn apart. And this is not good for our teachers, this is not good for our staff, this is not good for families, this is not good for community members as a whole, and most importantly, the people that we care about most, our children, are suffering because they're not in school. And I want to be very clear about it. Our children are suffering because they are not in school. So we have pushed publicly and privately to try to move the parties together to reach a fair and reasonable settlement. It will not be perfect. In my years of negotiation, I know many others on this council have been involved in negotiations as well. Settlements are never perfect. Everyone walks away a little bit unhappy, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, we need to move forward. And we are coming together this afternoon because we believe that the time to move forward is now, today, not tonight, not tomorrow, not Thursday, not Friday, but now. Now, we have been following the school committee's proposals, we've been following the Newton Teachers Association proposals, and we are aware that the school committee, in just the last hour or so, has made what it views and we believe is a fair and reasonable proposal. And let me talk for a moment about why we believe it's a fair and reasonable proposal. And in doing so, we are not trying to interject ourselves into the legitimate and appropriate negotiations between the teachers' union and the school committee. It is their job to work through the details. It is their job to craft appropriate language that all parties can live with. It's their job to work through the nuance of how much percentage increase is going to be attributable to particular years or when you might do that. It's their job to figure out, well, if you give more money to paraprofessionals, what does that do for other elements of the contract? That is not the city council's role. But our role is to say, we think this is a fair and reasonable offer. Let me be clear. It is not just to fund the COLAs, the cost of living increases. It's not just to fund some of the parental leave initiatives, which I understand, again, as an outside observer, that there's been considerable progress on. But it's also to fund the critical initiatives that our fantastic new superintendent, Dr. Anna Nolan, and I'm just going to add a personal word here, she is terrific. She is coming into a brand new situation 6 months in, and she's dealing with this, and she is working night and day to get this done. And this council fully supports our superintendent. And our superintendent has put forward some very important initiatives. Frankly, initiatives that our teachers, our school committee, our mayor, and we think are critical, including reducing our class sizes at the high school, something that's very important for proper learning, and increasing the number of social workers and other supports, mental health supports, at the elementary school, where they're particularly needed. And we need to assure that when we negotiate a contract, when the city negotiates a contract, that we can fund both the cost of living increases and the parental leave and other initiatives and Dr. Nolan's initiatives. We cannot be in a situation where we fund one and then forego the other. That is not good for the health of our school system. And so we think this proposal is difficult for the city financially. Make no doubt about it, this is not easy. This will be hard. And we are calling upon the mayor to agree to fully fund this proposal. That's what the mayor needs to do. And it won't be easy, but I pledge that each of every one of us in this room is going to work with her to get it done. Let me leave you with this. Again, I do not speak for myself. I speak for all of my colleagues here today and the ones who could not be here today. This strike has to end. We need to get our kids back in the classroom, and we need to do it now. And all the parties, all the responsible parties, the teachers, the school committee, those providing funding, need to be at the table today, tonight, however long it takes to get us back together. I will also say this strike and this negotiation will end. Obviously, it will end.